Chapter 2. The Horror of Berkeley Square. There are many ghosts in the City of London. There are haunted houses, theatres, streets and pubs. One of the most evil ghosts is the one at Berkeley Square. Between 1870 and 1900, no one wanted to live at 50 Berkeley Square. There were footsteps at night and macabre appearances. One particular room in the house was especially dangerous. In 1870, a brave young man decided to sleep in the haunted room for one night.
"Ghosts don't scare me,"
he said. The next morning, he was dead. His body was in the middle of the evil room. A year later, a young girl slept in the haunted room. That night, she saw or heard something horrible. The next morning, she was mad. She could not speak about her horrifying experience to anyone. Lord Lyttelton was an English lord.
"I don't believe in ghosts,"
he told his friends.
"I will sleep in that house and nothing will happen to me."
During the night, the people in the next house heard a gunshot. The next morning, Lord Lyttelton was terrified and told them,
"Something came into the room from that corner. It was slimy and had an evil smell. I fired my gun at it, and the ghost disappeared. It was horrible. I cannot describe it. That house is haunted by a ghastly spirit."
A year later, a maid was cleaning the haunted room. She did not know about the evil ghost. At midnight, horrible cries came from the haunted room. The people in the house ran upstairs. They found the poor maid on the floor in convulsions. Her terrified eyes stared at a corner of the room. It was the same corner Lord Lyttelton indicated. The maid refused to speak. Her only words were, "What I saw was too horrible to describe." The next morning, she died at St. George's Hospital. The story of the two sailors is perhaps the most famous of all. In 1875, two sailors arrived in London. They wanted to work on a ship. They had no money and nowhere to sleep. They walked around London and came to Berkeley Square.
"Look,"
said the younger sailor.
"there's an empty house. We can sleep there."
The sailors entered the dark, empty house. They went up the stairs. The older sailor said,
"This house is cold and dark. I don't like it. It scares me."
"Don't be silly,"
said the younger sailor.
"We have nowhere to sleep. Let's stay here."
They slept in the haunted bedroom. In the middle of the night, they both woke up.
"Listen,"
said the younger one.
"there's someone downstairs. Can you hear the noise?"
"Yes,"
said the other.
"I can hear footsteps. Oh no, the footsteps are coming upstairs."
At that moment, The door opened slowly. A big, dark figure came in. The older sailor was terrified. He could not move. He just sat and looked at the horrible thing. The younger sailor ran out of the room, down the stairs, and out of the house. In the street, he found a policeman. They returned to the house, but the sailor was too frightened to enter. The policeman went upstairs alone.
"Is anyone here?"
he cried. There was no answer, and he found no one. There was an evil smell on the stairs. He looked everywhere, but he couldn't find the older sailor. Then he looked out of the window. The older sailor was lying in the garden. He was dead. Did something push him out of the window? Or did he jump out of the window in terror? We will never know.